It's not mixed messaging at all, it's evolving messages. The situation is changing constantly and we're constantly reassessing. What we cannot be is stuck in something that just because it was said yesterday and for some political reason refuse to move on and improve the message because there's different advice today. So I completely reject the mixed messaging. The message is now very clear, based on public health advice, that we strongly recommend that children over 11 and teachers should wear them in common areas, and that is the message that's going across today. It could change for next week, and if that is the way we have to do it, then of course we have to do it. We can't just be held back in order not to be embarrassed by some politician.
Isn't it confusing to recommend masks but not make this a rule, especially in a school environment where rules are often needed for clarity?
Well, I think schools have enough rules. I think imposing another rule in which you would potentially have to discipline a student or even a member of staff for not wearing a mask is adding a level of complexity that is unnecessary at the current state of advice, which says it's not absolutely necessary, but it probably improves the outcome, and therefore this should be recommended. So I don't think we are at the position when we have to have that as a rule, and I am comfortable that most people will use masks, and if they don't, they would be advised that it would be better if they did, but it's not an issue that would then become something that would be have to taken up as a disciplinary issue when we have so mmany things to get on with.
Have you had a chance to see the feedback from the NASUWT? What is this, and have their concerns been addressed?
I haven't seen the latest reply from NASUWT UK. I hopefully will be seeing them very, very soon. But what I can say is that we are working very closely with the Gibraltar NASUWT, and all these concerns will be addressed jointly. I've already set up meetings every 2 weeks with the union, the Department of Education and the Director of Public Health, and all these concerns will be addressed and resolved together in the interests of children and of staff.
How confident are you that it will be sustainable to keep the schools open?
Well, we are hoping that we will be able to do so. We have protocols in place in which if we detect or if a child or a teacher has symptoms which could be COVID, they would be advised not to come to work, and we're setting up a system in which they will be tested for COVID. We hope that therefore we will be able to detect it early, contact trace quickly, and perhaps take steps in particular classes, year groups and so on. It is possible, maybe even likely, that we will have to take steps to close parts of schools, hopefully not whole schools, but we have to be ready. This is still a new situation. We're still in a pandemic, and we have to be realistic and not be apologetic and just take it and deal with it as it comes.
And what are the contingency plans for that scenario where groups of students may be isolated and risk missing out on yet more school time?
Yeah, I was challenged by a member of the opposition by saying something on Friday at a radio interview. Clearly, I'd been in this job for 4 days and I wasn't fully briefed. I am now more up to date, and I am confident that there are plans in place to have online platforms geared to the different years and having more curriculum content than perhaps was the case during the spring when the platform was slightly different. We weren't quite sure how this would evolve. So the Department of Education, I have seen the documents now, which I hadn't had a chance to see at the time, and I am confident that they are ready to take this on. Clearly, different levels of education will have different content, but hopefully we won't have to use it, but if we have to use it, we will.